Welcome to Monograph Matters. Today we have a discussion with Leshin, author of the SRCD Monograph on stability and change in gender identity and sexual orientation across childhood and adolescence. This discussion focuses on uniqueness and timeliness of the Trans Youth Project. This monograph focuses on the Trans Youth Project. Could you please tell us why this study is so unique and timely?
So the Trans Youth Project began in 2013, and it is the first study to track longitudinally the outcomes of children who had undergone a social transition. So by that, means that they had changed their pronouns and often their names, hairstyles, and clothing to live in line with their gender identity rather than the sex that they were assigned at birth. And so until the TYP kind of had emerged in 2013, and no quantitative studies had really tracked the outcomes of children who, by the age of 12, had undergone this social transition. Instead, past studies of gender diverse youth had largely focused on youth who had not socially transitioned in childhood. And most contemporary studies focused on older youth with a focus on their access to gender-affirming care and medical treatment. So our study, in contrast, has primarily focused on how gender development unfolds over time in youth who socially transitioned in childhood. And so the goal of this study was to track this group of about 300 socially transitioned transgender kids for 20 years. So we are about a decade into that process now. And in addition to the main group of transgender kids, we also recruited two other groups of kids that served as a sort of comparison. So the first were cisgender siblings of the transgender kids who were within that age range at the time of recruitment, or they could be kind of recruited once they fell into that age range later. And that was really to be able to have a cohort of cisgender kids who are matched on family characteristics relative to the transgender kids in our sample. And then there was also a second group of cisgender kids recruited who were unrelated to the families to the transgender kids in our sample. They were matched to the age and gender of transgender kids. And so we think that study is quite timely in the current political context, given that the developmental trajectories of gender diverse and transgender kids are heavily scrutinized. This is kind of a high stakes public debate. We thought it would be useful to kind of try to descriptively characterize how gender and gender identity and preferences, et cetera, unfolds over time in this particular sample of transgender youth who transitioned socially quite early in development.
Read more about this topic in the monograph issue, Stability and Change in Gender Identity and Sexual Orientation Across Childhood and Adolescence. If you like this video, consider watching our Monograph Matters playlist. For additional resources related to this and other issues of the monographs of the Society for Research in Child Development, please visit monographmatters.srcd.org.